Today in Bikes PC, it's time to upgrade the rear suspension on the bike. This will be my first thoughts on the Rockshox Super Deluxe Ultimate Coil RC2T. Today in Bikes PC, we test the new rear suspension. This is a coil setup with the Rockshox Ultimate Coil with the hydraulic bottom mount. Last week I tried the SEB and I kept it on the bike for just over a week with just the front fork so that I could feel that. Now that we're comfortable with the fork, which by the way is great, we're moving on to the rear so that I can see what just the rear suspension does for me. This coil has me super excited. Sag is sitting at right about 25%, which is pretty much exactly what I wanted, because with only 150 mil suspension travel, I wanted more bottom out protection, especially since the bike is so linear, and obviously still the original linkage. We'll see if I feel like I need any more, because Cascade does make a linkage that adds more progression. But for now, this will be my first thoughts on the coil, since my car is literally down there and that's all the riding that I've done in the coil. So this is going to be brand new to me, and hopefully I love it as much as I hope I will. But anyways, let's get going. We're pretty much at the top here, and what are my thoughts on the coil on the climb? Well, honestly, I don't feel the whole lot of difference, but there is one that I'm definitely feeling, and that is going over rocks and stuff like that while I'm climbing. My butt is just a little bit happier because it's getting bumped less hard by the seat, and I think that mostly has to do with just a small bump sensitivity on the coil. So far it's great. I'm really happy with it. But now the real test, downhill, which is really the reason I upgraded the suspension. So let's see how it does on paper route. That is worth mentioning about the coil coming uphill is that it does have a 2-position climbing switch, which works really good actually. I was just using it now and it feels very, very, very nice and stiff. Super nice for like first service roads and stuff like that. So very impressed with this. It'll work, right? It's important to keep speed through this. Because there's this uphill right here. I missed that one. We're gonna stay steeper right here. Into a right turn. Hawk to flat. Down to this badly maintained berm. Nice and smooth. Nice. Not this one. This is the jumps that I've been hitting for the last little bit. I'm pretty familiar with them since I've hit them so many times with the Rockshox. So that'll give you an idea of how different it feels compared to the claw shock here. So let's go. We'll hit the little ones first, and then we'll move on to the big ones. That felt really good actually. And now we're gonna hit the bigger ones. You feel great on the small ones, so I have high hopes. Wow, it feels awesome. The linear compression almost makes me feel like I have more travel, especially on stuff like this where it's not a harsh landing, where you actually have at least somewhat of a landing. It feels awesome. If I bottomed it out, I didn't feel it, and that is way better than I can say for the original Rockshox. Okay, it's the first one. But the coil dealt with it very nice. We're just gonna go for it. I spent it way too long. Ooh, that hurt my ankle. Whew. Way too fast. Oh, way too fast. Okay, I'm gonna sit for a bit. So, right here is where I want to land, and you can see that it's missing some dirt even. And well, now we walk down over here. This is where I landed, where it really flattens out quite a bit. So way slower, way slower. I did something very similar with the Rockshox than I did right now. And I'll play the clip for you guys. As you can tell, I also way overshot it. The difference though is with the coil, I was so worried about how it was gonna perform, this being the first ever drop, that I had my foot way too far forwards on the pedal. I was so worried about just getting the speed and everything else that I completely forgot about my foot placement, and my foot went back. In terms of the actual impact, it was just as bad. So when you're gonna bottom out, you're gonna bottom out, and that is important that you know. If you're gonna upgrade your suspension, that will not stop bottom out.
So what are my first thoughts on the Rockshox Super Deluxe Ultimate Coil? Overall, I really like it. It is true what they say about a coil. Over roots, small rocks, and going fast downhill, it felt amazing. It felt like I had more traction on my rear and I had more control due to the small bump sensitivity that a coil gives you.
Super smooth.
The linear compression was actually a very nice thing. I've never had a coil on a bicycle and I really liked it. It felt like I had more travel even though I didn't, and I feel like that is due to the linear compression. On an Rockshox, as your suspension goes through its travel, it ramps up. And that almost makes it feel like you're running out of suspension quicker than with the coil. With the coil, I felt like I had a lot of,
honestly,
at least usable suspension, which was very nice. The hydraulic bottom mount on this coil is definitely a very welcomed addition. I don't think I could go for a coil without it now. My Levo only has 150 millimeters of suspension travel on the rear, and it only has 20% progression. That meant I was using that bottom out quite often, not just on that big drop. And honestly, it felt great. I went up one click on it and it made the bottom outs feel very manageable. Even a little better than they did with my Rockshox. Granted, my Rockshox was a very simple Rockshox, being the Rockshox Select, but overall, I'm extremely happy with my choice of rear suspension.
After my first full ride. It was about 3 hours on the Rockshox Super Deluxe Coil RC2. Well, it's great. I absolutely loved it. It performed super nice. It is really true what they say about the compliance with small bumps on a coil, and overall the hydraulic bottom out did super nice on the bottom outs, which I had some pretty bad ones. So overall I'm really happy with the results.